and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's preview, as the Lions host the Stormers after back-to-back losses this year against the Sharks and 2 losses against the Bulls. They are searching for their first victory in 2022, whereas the Stormers are coming up on the back of 2 wins and a draw and are undefeated in 2022. So you really do have to back the Stormers, who are they are the most informed South African side. However, cast your mind back 2 months ago, and it was the Lions who actually put the Stormers to the sword in the last game, the URC South African game of 2021. So it should be an interesting encounter, because I think it's 2 sides which have almost sort of done the opposite, where the Lions have really fallen off since that last game, whereas the Stormers have been taking a lot of steps forward. And I think that for the Lions, a couple of players back from injury, which are going to make a big difference, but the Stormers naming a very strong backline in particular, I think it should be an interesting clash. I think the Lions, pack-wise, I think could potentially actually manage to sort of compete with the Stormers. If we look at the individual aspects, set piece will be very important this weekend. But backline-wise, I think the Stormers do have a much better backline than the Lions. But the Lions have got a couple of exciting players coming off the bench. Before we look at the teams, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. This is how the Lions will line up tomorrow. Now, first of all, is immediately a change up front. Ruan Drea's coming for Steve Sitole, and he's next to PJ Buerta and Carly Sardi. Now, if we have to almost look at sort of one by one between the Lions and the Stormers, I think I look at the front rows, and I think that Carly Sardi will be able to cope with Stephen Kitshoff at scrum time. I think that he's been demolishing anybody in his side really at this stage. Carly Sardi is such a good scrummager. So I think that him and Stephen Kitshoff should be a pretty even battle. I think the scrum battle is actually going to be decided by Ruan Drea versus Brock Harris. Ruan Drea back at loose head, playing a lot of tight head at the Lions lately. PJ Buerta starting. Big issue with him is the Lions, and we have to start seeing some improvement there. We can't, as a Lions side, be going into a match knowing that you're going to be losing 3-4 lineouts every single time because your hooker can't throw a ball into a lineout. That cannot happen at this level. A little bit of a lightweight lock combination. Ruan Strali, Ruben Skuman. Ruan Strali quite mobile, obviously plays with flank naturally, but there is a bit of a lock crisis within the Lions camp. No PJ Steenkamp, no Willem Alberts, no Peter Janssen van Vuren. So, they are very light, literally, on locks at the moment. But it's a very exciting news trio as Vincent Tuka makes his return a lot sooner than we probably would have thought. He partners Jaco Kriel and Frank Horn in what is, I think, a very, very good loose trio going into tomorrow. And Jaco Kriel actually retaining the captaincy despite Burger Windell coming back in, which I think is the right call. Jaco Kriel's captain the side to Super Rugby final. And I think that if there's anyone who knows exactly what it means to be a Lions player, who can demand what you need to be putting out there to be able to make it to the top, it is Jaco Kriel, because he has been there, he has done that. Which is nothing against Burger Windell, but I think, captaincy brings out the best in Jaco Kriel. I think that we've started to see glimmers of the player that he was before he went overseas. The halfback combination remains the same. Andre Warner partners Tian Swanepoel. Edel van der Merwe keeps his place, as does Stian Pienaar, but there is a change in the back three as Eva Yun comes in place of Divan Rousseau. Burger Windell and Manu Rabas is the new center combination. Matt Moore has dropped out. Very exciting players off the bench. So Jakob Asaki returns from injury and will start in the number 16. JP Smith, the 32-year-old, a bit of a journeyman. He's played rugby, Super Rugby for Brumbies. He's played for Stormers. He's been playing Major League Rugby in the last couple of years. He's back in the country, and he's got Randy Duplessis for company. So plenty of experience coming off the bench for the Lions. Not so experienced in terms of the rest of their forward replacements, as Ruan Venter and Emmanuel Chituka take up that mantle. Ruan Venter, very exciting youngster, still very young, as is Emmanuel Chituka. But then, for me, probably the most exciting part of this Lions 23, number 20, 21, 23. 21, 22, and 23, and Morne van den Berg. The return of Jordan Hendricks to the talented fly half, and Wandisila Similani, who for me has to be starting every single match. I think at the end of the day, these three are going to be expected to come on and try and change a game, and probably try and chase a game, to be honest. Which I suppose can work in the thinking that you are playing at altitude. The Stormers players will be tired, come that sort of 65, 70 minute mark, in theory, the way the Lions try and play. But the Lions need to get back to the tempo. That's what the Lions used to do so well. They would play at such a high tempo throughout the 80 minutes that when it came to 65 minutes, the opposition was then tired, struggling, and that's when you could turn on the heat. And I think that if you can get that Stormers backline to be a bit tired and bring on something like Wandisila Similani, he will create the space. He will find opportunities to put players into gaps. Morne van den Berg is also somebody who lifts the tempo a lot. Jordan Hendricks will lift the tempo. He's got a very nice boost as well. So really good to see him back. But I really think that Similani, somebody like Ian, needs to be starting. especially when you look at the Stormers backline that they have named. A lot of Springbok fans will be very happy with seeing Damian Willemse and Warwick Lunt both starting in the same side. But it's an unchanged pack. Stephen Kitshoff's carrying Benny, Brock Harris are the front row. The scrums were far more solid last weekend than the weekend before, where Sally Sunday had a very tough time against Oxenshire. Second row, RJ Smith, Marvin Orie. Marvin Orie has been sublime at line-out time. It's almost like a guaranteed win. You might as well just start the more. When it comes to line-out time, he's been so reliable lately. Dion Free coming off the man of the match performance. I think Ernst van Rijn is starting to grow into his role. But he's going to have a tough time up against a very physical Vince Tuka. Atiba Diamani will be the one to try and prove a point against his former side. He did do it very well a couple of weeks ago in the Currie Cup, but this is a whole different kettle of fish. Paul Levesque gets an opportunity to start. He's next to Mani Liebach. The rest of the back line, Sabela Sinatla, Sergio Peterson and Warwick Lunt are the back three. Damian Willemse finally starting inside centre next to Ruan Nel. It's where we've wanted to see Damian Willemse play for a long time. I think ever since his cameo last year against Georgia, where he came on for that 10 minutes of inside centre, people are sort of sitting there going, it actually just makes sense. And I've been asking for him to play at centre for about 2 or 3 years now, because I just think it plays to all his strengths. I think he is a playmaker, but not to the extent of, your Mani Liebachs, your Johan Goossens, your Andre Parlin form, your Alton Yankees type thing, those sort of out-and-out fly halves. I also don't think he's in the same sort of mould as Warwick Lunt just yet. I think his kicking game still needs a lot of work. I think his kicking for goal isn't good enough to be a fly half. But he's a very physical player. He's got a very good defensive record. He's a very good defender. He packs quite a punch, got a lethal inside step. And I think he ticks all the boxes for what could be a very exciting inside centre. And we really need to start seeing him play well. And try sort of taking, because he's got so much talent. We know the talent Damian Willemse has. He just needs to go out and express it. Off the bench, quite an inexperienced front row in comparison, the likes of Andre Hugo Venter, Leon Lyons and Sally Sunday. So that should be interesting in the latter stages of the game, whether it's youth or experience that comes out tops. David Mayhazen and Marcel Tillison are the two forward replacements. They are back to a 5-3 split after having gone with a 6-2 split last weekend. Herschel Yankees is on the bench, as is Dan Du Plessis and Angelo Davis. So Angelo Davis, somebody as well, somebody nice to be able to bring on as the game gets a bit more open. Same as the Herschel Yankees. Dan Du Plessis not a fly half by trade, so expect to see Damian Willemse potentially switch to fly half. Mani Liebach play 80 minutes. You can see Damian Willemse swap to full back. It's quite a versatile side. But let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.